What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Barbarano. Welcome back to more Spyro the Dragon. In the last episode, we defeated Nasty Nork and collected all of his treasure. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the after game, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, there really isn't anything you can do in the after game, at least for the first game. You can explore every level, any level that you want, and yeah, that's really it. There's no more gems to collect, no more anything. 120% is 120%. What I didn't mention is that you can go to the pause menu and you can choose whatever world you want to go to. So let's say we want to go to Wizard Peak so we can go listen to that awesome Amanda show theme. We can do so. We don't have to go to the balloon, go to Magic Crafters, and then find the portal to it. We can just immediately warp to there. We don't even have to see the loading animation either. I didn't choose to mention this because in the first Spyro game, there's really no point to it because there's no purpose to backtrack to each level unless you want to go back to it if you missed a few gems and want to come back to it later. But there's really no point of it. It's not like the other games where you need to actually backtrack because you need to unlock certain abilities in order to progress or to get through a certain part of the level. But in this game, it's totally pointless. So yeah, just wanted to show that off. And if you choose the return home portal, you're immediately going to go back to Magic Crafters. So, like so, and I'm sucking badly right now. Alright, but there is another thing I do want to mention, and I didn't show this off in the main game. I only wanted to show this off right after we defeated Nasty Nork. There are a bunch of cheat codes in this version of the game. Actually, no, in Reunited Trilogy, yeah. And basically Reunited Trilogy. I'm sucking ass right now, jeez. There were cheat codes in the original Spyro, and they brought them back in the Reunited Trilogy, so we're going to go ahead and show them off right now. Okay, so I tried using the PC version of Spyro Reunited Trilogy to enter the cheat codes, but it just wasn't working for me. I don't know why. I tried using the Xbox controller, the keypad, and nothing was working. So instead I'm using footage from the Switch version. I ended up using the built-in recorder that only records 30 seconds, and it seemed to work pretty well. But this cheat gives you 99 lives. At first I didn't think it worked, but it turns out I have to exit the pause menu, and then there you go, you get 99 lives. This code right here gives Spyro a big head. I call it the George Lopez code. If you watch the show, you know what I mean. But yeah, there it is. This code right here gives Spyro a small head. If you have the big head already on, it will resort to a small head. I call this one... I don't know, it looks really weird. This code right here makes Spyro's wings very small, so he can look like a bumblebee dragon, or a dragon that hasn't hit his growth spurt from his wings yet. I don't know. I should also mention, if you're not a fan of what you see, you're able to re-enter the code and Spyro will go back to normal, but for some reason, I could not get the wings to go back to their normal size. I was only able to get the head back, not the wings, which really sucks. And I tried resetting the game to maybe like fix that, but it still makes his wings very small. So I might have to delete my save data on my Switch and then re-enter it again, or re-download it again in order for me to get back to normal, which really sucks, but whatever. I didn't really have much progress on the Switch version to begin with. This code right here gives Spyro the sunglasses that he wears when you 100% the game at the end cutscene. At this point in time, this code is only exclusive to the Nintendo Switch version. This gives Spyro a pair of shades with rainbow-colored frames to celebrate the LGBTQ culture. And if you actually put the big head and small head sheets on, Spyro will still have the sunglasses on. I don't have footage of that, but it'll look pretty funny. With the announcement of Paper Mario Origami for the Nintendo Switch coming out in July, I thought it'd be cool if we played some good old Paper Spyro. Yeah, this makes Spyro flat. It looks really stupid. If you're feeling old school, then why don't you try putting in this code? This makes Spyro retro, like you did in the PlayStation version. I think this looks really cool. I love the shading that's on Spyro in this texture, or this model, and it looks like it belongs in this world. So yeah, I like that model a lot. Now there are some codes to change Spyro's color, but I'm gonna be honest, I think they look like shit. They literally look like somebody just dumped paint on Spyro's body, and it covered everything in that color besides his eyes and his eyelids. So yeah, I'm not a big fan. I was a little bit of a bigger fan in the original game, but not so much here. In fact, the colors in the original game, they're actually what happens when you go through a power-up. Not in the first game, with the exception of the red Spyro, but in the other two games where you go through, like, I don't know, a supercharge, you turn blue or whatever, or you shoot, like, green stuff out of Spyro's mouth. But I thought that was pretty interesting. The only one that's not used is Dark Spyro. Spyro Reignited Trilogy doesn't really have any beta material for us to look at least for the first game. However, in the game's files, there is an unused setting to change the difficulty of the game, which was not in the final game, nor the original. It's not known how the difficulty would change when you select these. My guess would be either how many lives you are given, or how many hits you can take before you die, or maybe short time on the flight levels. Even if you were to somehow access this menu through hacking, it doesn't really do anything, regardless of what setting you have it on. It's interesting to note that the only way to unlock Nightmare Mode is by 100%ing the game. For this topic, I want to talk about the beta of the original Spyro. However, this is something I cannot talk about in one video because it would make the video way too long, and there's so much to talk about that this series can go on forever. But I will touch up on a few things that are notable. First and foremost, in the beta, a lot of the dragons you rescue do not have animations. Text just pops up on screen, and that's it. Also, some of the music is different from the beta. What I mean by that is that levels from other levels are in levels that they're not supposed to be in, if that makes any sense. But the funniest one, hands down, has to be the final boss. It's the Artisan's theme. Yeah, that's right, when you fight Gnasty Gnorc, the Artisan's theme plays. Speaking of the final level, they added one of those fairies from Haunted Towers and High Caves. However, it would only be used to open a chest with gems, which is disappointing. On the topic of gems, in the beta version of the final level, you have to collect 1,000 gems instead of 500. In a way, I'm kinda glad they made that change because you have less gems to worry about. In fact, if you saw my finale episode, I missed a gem and had to start the fight all over again. During the whole first chase sequence with Gnasty Gnorc, they added platforms which were not in the final game. I guess because the beta version had 1,000 gems, they added those platforms, but since we only got 500 in the final boss, then they removed the platforms entirely, because there was really no point for them to have that. Then for the chase sequence with the platforms with lava at the bottom, they added enemies, which I thought was pointless because you're always going to be charging to begin with, so they're not really a hazard. I mean, unless you're someone who picks up Spyro for the first time. Sarge, why are you not running? Why are you not running? Why aren't you running? Towards the end, where you have to flame Gnasty Gnorc, he just stands there and taunts you. He doesn't even attack you at all. You don't even have to flame him either. A simple headbutt does the trick. Also, there's a return home portal. If you are interested in seeing a full playthrough of the beta of Spyro the Dragon, check out LXShadow's playlist. He lists all of the changes in each level, and plus he has some interesting commentary using the captions. His footage is what I used for the whole final boss with Gnasty Gnorc. I should also mention there's another beta version. This is an earlier version of the beta we just saw. I only want to show you the final world because that one is the most interesting. First off, this world isn't even called Gnasty's World, it's called Machinist. Aside from the lack of shading in Gnorc Cove, one thing that was not in the final game was this little boat, quote unquote. The only way to ride this thing is if you keep moving forward, otherwise you just slip off and fall in the water. There is no return home Whirlwind, however there is a portal that just says, The End, which you can enter. There is a way to get to Twilight Harbor, but it requires more hacking to get there. Even if you were to access this level, it's heavily broken. Spyro can walk on water, and some of the enemies are floating in midair, plus there's no way to exit the level unless you click exit level in the pause menu. The last thing to mention is the final boss. This level has bland-ass textures with missing walls, and half the level is missing. This is actually the final level that was in the game, only without the cool textures and the music, and if we look at Gnasty Gnorc himself, his design is almost completely different. He almost looks like a blue watermelon with no hat. He can't attack you at all. This footage I got from HWD405 on YouTube. He has a lot of prototype videos of Spyro the Dragon, and even other Spyro videos. He also linked the website to where you can view the changes from the final game. One final thing about the beta is Spyro goes in Gnasty's booty. Yeah. Spyro the Dragon was released on September 9th, 1998 in North America. It was later released in Japan on April 1st, 1999. The Japanese version of Spyro the Dragon has a bit of a different playstyle than the American version. But first, let's talk about the small things. All the dialogue is obviously in Japanese. Every time Spyro glides or charges, he makes a noise. Also, they added signposts to give you tips or advice how to play. The only way to read them is to flame them. Yeah, next time you want to read a sign, just flame it. Another thing that's different is the font. The American release had this nice gold font or whatever, but the Japanese version has plain-ass text. The only thing that's not plain text are the level portals. In the American release, every time Spyro enters a portal, he does a nice loop-de-loop into the level, which is cool. However, in the Japanese version, it just fades into the level. Why? The same thing happens when you go into Whirlywing. Now for what really makes the Japanese version of Spyro the Dragon suck ass. The camera. The American release was nice and close on Spyro. You can easily control the camera, and when you charge, the camera zooms in. However, the Japanese version, the camera is zoomed out, and you hardly have any control. You can rotate the camera, but if it hits the wall, it just stops. Sometimes the camera just spazzes out and goes wherever. It's not like Spyro's even moving that fast. Oh, and speaking of speed, they nerfed the charging speed in this version big time. Spyro's charging speed is the same as he's walking in the American release. In fact, Spyro moves so slow, I had a hard time killing sheep for health. Apparently, all these changes were made because Japan thought it would cause players to have 3D sickness. Yeah, my ass is 3D sickness. Next time you see someone playing Spyro, make sure they don't get sick. Hey, what you playing?
Spyro.
Oh, neat. Hey, do you feel sick?
No.
Okay then. The next thing to mention is the control. Because the camera's zoomed out, it becomes harder to control Spyro. I kept moving side to side like I was Ariana fucking Grande. If you try to turn, Spyro just goes all over the place. You can't jump and charge either. At first, I thought the emulator was glitching up my controller and it wasn't working properly, but no! Look here! I'm literally trying to jump while charging, but it's not working. You can do it in the American release, so why not the Japanese version? The last thing to mention is Sparks. In the American version, every time Sparks takes a hit, he changes color. Yellow means full health, blue means 1 hit taken, green means 2 hits taken, and when he's gone, you're vulnerable. In this version, Sparks stays green the whole time. The only way to know if you took damage is by looking at his little pixie dust he leaves behind that you need a magnifying glass in order to be able to see. There was a purpose for this though. There was a device called the Pocket Station, which was a Japanese exclusive accessory for the PS1. If you were to pop it into the memory card slot, you would be able to find a dragon egg in every level but flight levels. After you collect it, it would go to the Pocket Station and you would play Tamagotchi like with a dragonfly. Depending on how much you play it, Sparks would change color. What's the point of this? Well, if you raise your dragonfly even further, Spyro can take more abuse with 5 hits instead of 3. This game isn't even that hard to begin with! Even the shittiest Spyro players don't need such a handicap to play through the game! Hell, even my mother can beat this game in only 3 hits, or even my fucking dog! What were they thinking? This version sucks. The Japanese version of Spyro the Dragon can go fuck itself. I don't even care that Spyro's Japanese name looks like a foreshadow to what is to come for the Purple Dragon. The final thing I want to talk about are the mods for Reignited Trilogy. Believe it or not, throughout this whole Let's Play, I was playing with a mod. This mod was to make Spyro's texture a little bit more like the original as far as color goes. The Reignited Trilogy community produced many mods. Some of them look great, while others are just as a joke. I'll only look at some of these because we'll be here forever if I talk about all of them. Okay, this model takes the PlayStation 1 model and puts it right in the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, and I'm gonna be honest, I really don't like this model. It doesn't fit this world at all, it looks out of place, and Spyro looks really angry, and I don't know why. Like, he never looked this way in the PlayStation 1 version, and here's what he looks like in a cutscene, and I still don't think it looks that good.
Where's Nasty Nork? I'll torch him!
Keep your horns on, Spyro! You have much to learn first. Do you know what the dragonfly following you is doing? His name is Sparks, and he's helping and protecting you. Keep an eye on him, and see what I mean.
There's also a model to change Sparks into Retro Sparks, how he looked in the PlayStation 1 version. And again, I don't like how it looks on him either, but... And, like, even the flying looks weird, too. Like, why, like... I know, like, in the PlayStation 1 version, he always had, like, his front feet in front of him, and then his back feet, like, swinging back, or whatever. But, like, it looked really weird when he was flying through the portal. I don't know. I really don't like that model at all. People like it. That's fine. But it's not my thing at all. Here we have Dark Spyro. I actually really like this model. It looks really cool. It's not like one of those stupid cheat codes that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, where it looks like paint is dumping on his head or whatever, but I really like how it looks. Has a nice texture. It changes like the part where it was yellow to like a white color, and I think his eyes are changed too. Let me see, because I don't actually know. Come on. Yeah, his eyes are red. Like, it looks really cool. If Spyro were to get like a redesign or something and make him black like that, I think it looks really cool. I might actually do a playthrough where I play as this Spyro because I really like how it looks. Here we have Minecraft Spyro. It makes Spyro look like he's from Minecraft, and I love the look on his face. Like, he's looking like, why did you make me into this model? Why did you do that? Why did you do this to me, Brandon? Like, I think this one looks cool. I'm personally not a fan of Minecraft, but, like, I think this looks something straight out of Minecraft. In fact, we're gonna see a cutscene with it pretty soon. I don't know what I'm doing here, but yeah, it's really funny. I think it's the funniest model I've seen so far.
Cool flash.
And yeah, there were sheep like interrupting the cutscene, which I thought was funny. And then this is what he looks like going in a portal. I've never played Minecraft, but like, is there like any lighting effects in Minecraft like this? Because that looks really cool. Like, if this were to actually take place in Minecraft, I would love for somebody to take like all the textures in Spyro and just like make it look Minecrafty. Okay, for this model, this is the Legend of Spyro Eternal Night Dark Spyro model. It's Spyro with dark shades, as you can see, and pure white eyes. This happens in the final boss of the game, and if you beat the game once, you are able to play as Dark Spyro again in Eternal Night, which is, in my opinion, the best Legend of Spyro game.
Hi, Spyro.
This model looks really cool. I just don't think it fits the game pretty well, because you're in this colorful world and everything. Everything's all colorful and happy, and then like you're this sinister looking dragon, and yeah, it just doesn't fit. But you gotta admit, Dark Spyro was pretty badass in the Legend of Spyro series. Like, probably the most badass Spyro will ever be. But yeah, I can only think of one cutscene it would look cool in the whole Radiant trilogy, and that's in the third game. Or maybe in the second game too, I don't know. I should also mention that these models don't work in pre-rendered cutscenes. The final model we're going to look at is the Hero's Tale model from Spyro A Hero's Tale, which is, in my opinion, and you guys can hate me all you want for this, I think it's the worst console Spyro game. I really don't like the gameplay of that. I really hate how they changed everything. And, like, they changed it for the bad. Like, I really like the Eternal Night series because it had a good story, but the story in A Hero's Tale was mediocre. I didn't like the gameplay that much, and the new mechanics were terrible, too, and plus they slapped the buttons, too, which I hated. So, yeah, and honestly, I'm not really a fan of the music, either. But, yeah, if you listen, you can actually hear the, A Hero's Tale voice actor for Spyro in there. I kept getting hit multiple times for you guys to hear it. It doesn't really sound that good in this mod, but whatever. And that's another thing too. I didn't like Spyro's voice in A Hero's Tale either. It kind of reminded me of the original Spyro voice, but not as good. So yeah, I'm trying to get killed here so you guys can hear like what he sounds like when he dies. And there you go. And plus, I don't think the eyes are fully animated because when he died right there, his eyes were, like, wide open, and it looked really bad. And, like, coming up soon, I have a clip where Spyro does his idle animation where he's about to sneeze, and he sneezes with his eyes open. So, yeah, it looks really, really weird. Has anybody ever sneezed with their eyes open? I'd like to know. And that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about in the bonus episode of Spyro the Dragon. We will look at more mods when I do the other 2 Spyro games, but for right now I wanted to keep it limited. If you guys have any suggestions on which mods I should play for when I do Spyro 2 and 3, let me know in the comments below. I really want to thank my friends StelerSteel and Amy Garrity for taking the time to watch this bonus episode to point out any mistakes I've made. And if you're wondering about my cool Spyro shirt that I have on, I got it at a store called Box Lunch. I know it's in New Jersey, but I don't know anywhere else in the country. I'm sure if you type in boxlunch.com and type in Spyro, you'll find it, but that's where I got this shirt, and it's pretty sweet. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this bonus episode of Spyro the Dragon. And for the next couple of weeks, I'll be uploading different kinds of videos, more me reacting to old videos of mine, and I'm going to be playing some multiplayer games with friends online. I'll see you guys then.